Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. Today I am here with the next update for my deck of panning project Pan. I am very excited to share with you my progress as always, and if you haven't been following this project along, this was created by Emilynmax here on YouTube, and I will have her link down below, as well as the game board, as well as the other people doing this project. So all of that will be linked down below. But before I jump into any of the products, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you in the family. But let's just jump into the updates. Also, I do have my fan on. I'm really hoping you can't pick that up too much on camera, but if you can, I will not do that again in the future. But it's literally the biggest heat wave here in the UK this week, and I am dying to film it because I have my lights on as well. So I really hope it's okay. I won't know until I edit, but if it's too loud, I won't have it on in any other videos. But yeah, I just really need to have something on me today because it's very, very warm in front of these lights. So without any further ado, I'm gonna jump into the first item. And my first item I'm gonna talk about is actually the Joker card. I rolled this in 3 months ago now, I think, and this, like I said, was the Joker. And if you again are new to this project, the Joker card means, are you joking me? Like something you really don't want to pan, something like you are like, oh god, why did I pull that card, why do I have to pan this product? That's kind of the emotions you should get when you see that card. But what I rolled in is this product right here, which is one of my MAC paint pots, and I picked the shade Groundwork, and this is what the product looks like. I will have a progress picture up here, and my goal with this was to use it 50 times because I thought that was a decent enough goal to get some good use out of it, but also to feel like it was difficult enough to have as the Joker card. And as of the last update, I had used this 28 times, and I'm really happy to report that I have used it an additional 22 times this past month. I did hit my goal of 50, which I'm very excited about, and the way I kind of got use out of this and the way I ended up kind of hitting my goal with this on was using it as a contour. And I'm actually wearing it for the last time today, so you can see it right here. It is the contour that I'm wearing, and I usually put this on underneath my foundation, and I just put a really thin layer of foundation on top of it just to blend it, and it's been working really well as that. It was still not something that I wanted to reach for every single day. It was still a bit of a hassle to add into my rotation, but it was definitely easier adding it that way than as an eyeshadow, because I am panning so many eyeshadows at the moment, and adding a base like this in kind of hinders hitting pan on some of my eyeshadows. So that's why I ended up using it more as a contour than as an eyeshadow. But yeah, like I said, I had used it 22 times in the past month, so I'm rolling this out after 50 uses total. The next product that I rolled in was for an award winner, I believe, and that was my Benefit Porefessional primer. This has been in for 2 months now, and my goal with this was to finish it. And if you look at the progress lines on the back, that is where I was when I rolled in. That is where I was last update, and I have finished it. Again, I actually finished this today. I really had to squeeze out some products. Yesterday when I used this, I felt like I was almost done with it, but I really squeezed it out today, and I kind of got an application. It was a very light application because I literally couldn't get anything else out of it. I mean, I could technically kind of cut this open and use up the last bit that way, but honestly, I don't really use primers that often anymore that is worth for me to do that, so I am going to call this quits now. And I used this an additional 27 times in the past month for a total of 55 uses. So yeah, that is now rolling out, and it is finished in my collection. The next item that I have is my gold palette by Natasha Denona. I rolled this in for, I think, most expensive, and I wanted to roll this in just to get some more use out of it. My goal with this is to use this 30 times, whereas 5 of those is exclusively doing a look. And so far I have used this 7 times. I think I have a previous picture of what it looked like when I first rolled it in. I hadn't used it much at all, but like I said, I just wanted to make it look more loved. And this is what the palette looks like today. I definitely can see a few kind of, not the dips, but I can see that it's been used. And like I said, I used this 7 times, and I've actually used this twice exclusively creating looks. So that is where I am with this palette. I am happy that I'm getting use out of it, and I was really grateful to be able to roll this into this project because I've been very kind of, over the last even 2 years panning eyeshadows, I've been very kind of dedicated using just eyeshadows that I am panning and just eyeshadows that I'm trying to pan on. So having something like this in, it just makes me reach for palettes as a whole and not kind of focus specific shades to pan on them, but just kind of go for what I feel like going for, if that makes sense. So I'm very grateful that I did roll this in, and I still have quite a way to go. I have 23 uses left, so quite a lot, but I'm also glad I already did 2 exclusive looks with this. What I did is I brought this with me when I went away for a weekend to see my in-laws, so I just brought this, and I thought thought that's a good way for me to do exclusive looks with this and not overpack. So I probably will do this again if I am traveling somewhere for a weekend, and hopefully that way I can hit my goal on using this 5 times exclusively. Otherwise it's just been really nice to incorporate, like I said, with other looks. And also I am actually wearing one of the shades in here today. I am wearing the shade Lime Chrome, which is the top shade right here. I'm actually wearing that on the inner lid today. I'm pairing it with quite a few other shades that I'm panning, and it's just topped on top of this kind of tealy shade, and I really like that. So yeah, that is the shade I'm wearing from this today, and I'm very happy that I still have this in the project. Next up we have my sleek Solstice palette. This is very grubby. I really need to clean this, to be honest. I rolled this in last month, and I'm trying to remember what I rolled this in for. I think it might have been an underrated product, or I honestly can't remember. I'm really sorry about that, but I wrote this in last month, and my goal with this is to hit pan on one of the shades, and this is what the palette looks like now. I wasn't sure which shade I wanted to focus on by last month, but I have decided to focus on this shade right here, and I have reached for this palette as a whole 18 times, and I think I've reached for this shade at least like 16 times. I think quite early on I decided to reach for this shade, and honestly there's not much of a dip. I'm not sure you can see, but yeah, there's not much of a dip, and I already reached for it like 16 to 18 times. So I'm going to continue working on that, and it's probably going to take quite a while until I do hit pan on that shade, but I'm going to continue working on it. I'm actually not wearing this today. I'm wearing something else on my cheeks. I wanted to do something different, and also I found that this palette is quite pale on me, so in summer it's not my ideal palette to use. It works beautifully in winter, but it does look a little bit icy in summer, so it wasn't maybe the best product to roll in at this time of the year, but I am going to continue working on it, and it's an easy palette for me to reach for because it's just a really good palette to reach for when I don't know what highlight I want to go for that day. So I'm going to continue working on it and hopefully have this out sometime this year. Then the last product I rolled in is this one right here, which is a body care item, and I rolled this in last month, and my goal is to finish this. I honestly really should have finished this by this update, because that's where I was when I rolled it in, and I am down here today. So I really should have finished this, and I have reached for this 9 times over the past month. I did tell you when I introduced this last month that I'm not the best at moisturizing, and I'm not the best at remembering to reach for my body moisturizers. So I was really hoping to push myself to reach for it, but I mean 9 times in a month is what is sad. It's like once every 3 days barely. So I definitely need to be better at moisturizing with this. There was periods when I used this like 3 days in a row, and then I forgot about it for like a week and a half, and then I was like, oh yeah, I need to reach for that, and I reached for another kind of 3-4 times in a row, and then I forgot about it. So I just need to continue getting into the mentality of reaching for this more frequently, and yeah, I don't think there's gonna be any issue finishing this next month, because yeah, it's very close to being done. So that is the last item that I had, and with that I'm gonna actually pick new cards to roll in, and I haven't checked the game board yet, so it's gonna be exciting to see what categories are on there this time. And since I finished or hit my goal on 2 items, I'm gonna roll 2 new cards in. So I do have my deco cards right here, and this is the Club Nebula deco cards that I got with the Club Nebula palette from Kaleidos. I am quickly gonna shuffle this. They are already shuffled from last update, but since I pulled some cards then, I'm just going to kind of shuffle it a bit and just shuffle those cards back in. So let me do that for a second, and I will be right back to pull 2 new cards. So I have the game board here on my lap, and I have the deck of cards. I usually pick the cards that are on top, so I'm going to start with the first one, which is going to be the 6 of Spades. So 6 of Spades is the category Balancing Act, and I think Balancing Act is something that is like something that you have to kind of mix with other things, or something that you have to just use the perfect amount to be able to get a good result with, or something like that. There's more kind of like a fiddly product, I believe. So that's going to be the first one. For the second card, it is going to be the 8 of Spades, so very close on the board, but that is going to be a sentimental product. Okay, I think we'll have to think about that one, but yeah, those are the 2 cards. I'm going to go and pick those 2 products out, and I will be right back. So I'm back, and I have my 2 products. Let's start with the Balancing Act, because that was the first one I rolled in, and I honestly found it really difficult to find something for this category. I was thinking about maybe like a foundation that was too deep or too light for me, but then I'm currently working on one that's already too deep for me, so I didn't want to do that, because that would kind of overlap and take away from that foundation. And then I was thinking about, like, I don't know if there's anything like a lip product, anything like I need to mix, but I'm already working on a lot of those kind of things as well, so I was like having quite a hard time to find what I wanted to work on. But then I thought of like, what if I pick something that is quite pigmented and is a balancing act in the sense that you can't put too much on, because otherwise it looks way too intense. And that's kind of what I decided to go for. So I decided to pick this blush right here, which is the Mini California Blush by Benefit. This one looks like this, and as you can hopefully see in there, I feel like this never shows up as bright on camera as it is in real life, but it's a very, very bright blush, and it's quite pigmented as well. Like, I don't know if you can pick this up. Let me try to swatch it. You can probably see it there. I don't know why I swatched right there, but yeah, it is a very kind of pigmented blush. And with this one, I feel like you can't put too much on, or it's gonna get way too intense and it's gonna be really, really hard to blend. And in that sense, it is a balancing act, and that's why I'm gonna roll in. And with this one, I was thinking about what gold to have, and I haven't used as much. And I'm also currently panning a different blush that I want to use up this year, so I don't want to hit pan on this or try to finish it, obviously, because that would take probably longer than a year. But I think what I'm gonna do is put the goal of using this 30 times. It's still quite a good goal. Like, I like putting either 30 or 50 uses, but since I'm also panning a different blush, I don't want to put 50, so I think I'm gonna put 30 as usage on this. So that's gonna be my goal with the first item. And then for the sentimental item, I decided to roll in like a palette that is very sentimental to me, in the sense of that it was the first kind of high-end makeup item that I really wanted to buy, and it was like the first thing that I remember like really like wanting to buy, and I couldn't get it over in Europe at the time. So when I first, or at least not in Sweden when I lived back then, but we went to the US, went to New York and traveled a bit with my family back in 2012, which just shows you how old this palette is. But I still have it in my collection, but I'm trying to pan on as many shades in this palette as possible. And you probably already know what palette it is, and of course it is the Naked palette by Urban Decay. I think a lot of people feel the same way about this palette as I do, but I want to try to pan on one of the shades in here, and that's going to be my goal. And just to give me a bit of an easier time, I am going to pick the shade Naked right here, because I already had quite a big dip in this shade, and it is a bit more of a cool tone shade, and I am panning a lot of warm toned eyeshadows at the moment, but I feel like it would be nice to switch things up with. And why I'm covering this is because I'm working on a different shade right here that I don't want to show you yet, because I'm going to upload that in like about a week and a half. So I don't want to spoil anything, but yeah, this is the shade that I'm rolling in, which is Naked. And my goal, like I said, is to pan on this eyeshadow. And that, you guys, was it for my update for my deck of panning. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you're doing this project, let me know how you're doing down below. Of course, if you're posting your update here on YouTube, I will check out the playlist and see where you are in your update. But yeah, let me know if you're doing it on Instagram or if you're just doing it on your own. And otherwise, I will catch you in my next video. Bye, guys.